because Catherine is originally from Canada, right? French Canadian, right, Catherine?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm from Montreal and I have been living in Panama for 10 years now.
10 years. Yeah. So we are fortunate to have Catherine on the team. She is an El Valle veteran. She actually runs a tourist accommodation up in El Valle as well, but has been with us full time doing real estate for quite some time and has had a lot of success actually, which is exciting. So guys, the reason for doing this today is I wanted you to kind of get the sense of what's going on in the mountains, specifically mountain real estate. And Catherine, man, you're having a good year. It's there's a lot of sales going on right now. And, you know, having done this for 13 years or so, and we've been in Altos and El Valle, which is the area Catherine covers, for almost 10 years now, I would say this is the busiest year we've ever had in mountain real estate. So Catherine, tell the folks about kind of, maybe we can start with what you've seen recently selling, to just kind of mention a few of the properties that are actually going, you know, changing hands on the market right now.
Yes. So I feel that after the pandemic, there's a lot of people that they were just feeling like they want to live by the month end. They want to have a lot of green space. They want to have a backyard, trees, like they really need that. So that's why it was really good on that side because, for example, El Valle, Altos has usually a minimum of 2,000 square meter, 1,000 square meter per lot. So, you know, you have more than, let's say, a building where you have a balcony. And since El Valle and Altos are not allowed to have buildings, you most likely have single family house
Right.
with your own garden, you have your fence, and you know you have your privacy. So that's what we have seen. A lot of families, foreigner, even Panamanians that can now work from home. They can work from everywhere. So basically, they just want to have their 2 bedrooms, 3 bedroom house, but located in a nice and with a nice landscape.
Sure. No, absolutely. I mean, the appeal has always been there. You've got some really beautiful houses. You've got some kind of older houses on smaller lots. You know, Panama, as you know, it's kind of hard to get a sense of transactions, right? Like, because they don't really publish like sold properties. So, you know, I would like to kind of start off by maybe mentioning a few of the houses that you sold. You don't have to say the last names or anything like that, but just to give people a sense of kind of like, all right, you know, this is like, or better yet, maybe an idea about your typical house. So what's a typical house in Altos del Maria? It's what you said, about 3 bedrooms kind of thing.
Well, it would start with 2 bedrooms. So the typical house, like the cheapest you can find, will start at 140,000 for 2 bedrooms, and at least 2,000 square meter, roughly, right? You
2,000 square meter lot.
lot exactly, and
Right.
you
Which
have the
is
construction.
right. Sorry, I interrupted you. What did you say construction wise?
So you'll have the construction on the 2,000 square meter. So roughly 200 to 300 square meter house.
On about a half an acre lot, right? Because 4,200, if I recall, 4,200 meters is about an acre, for the Americans watching. So yeah, about 22,000 square meters is about a half an acre lot. Okay, so we're talking about, guys, we got Catherine, our mountains expert, is talking about kind of the typical property for sale in Altos del Maria. So Catherine, sorry, you were saying smaller homes start 2,000 square meter lot, maybe 150, 200 meters of construction. Entry price point you were saying was about 140,000, is about
140, but that would not be like the turnkey house. You will have to do some renovation and, maybe something going on, like not all furnished. So usually it goes more roughly into the 200,000 ish to 250. And then, of course, if you go higher, it's because it will have, let's say, pool. It will have some more amenities, more bedrooms, better location, better view.
So what makes a good location in Altos? How do you determine the difference between a good location and a bad location in a big master plan community like Altos?
Well, it will have two different shores. So we have the one prefer to have like a lower location. So usually the days are sunnier and it's a little bit warmer. So it makes sense to have a pool. So then it's on 5,500 above sea level. And then we have the other type of, let's say, customer that would prefer cooler, more breeze. It will also have more rains. And will be more like 800 above sea level.
800
800
meters. Okay.
meters exactly above sea level. So we have those kind of two different options because there's two different gates. So depending on your preferences, we will, offer both. And
Okay.
from there, you could be in a hill, so you will have like a 180-degree view. Or sometimes, if you prefer to have like no neighbors, it could be like a corner street. Most of the street are just like dead end cul-de-sac streets. So that's something typical in Atos. All streets are like this. So it's not something, it's not unique to each house, but most of them are like this. So it's really
Okay.
private. That's that's a private community, so it's not allowed for business. That's really if you prefer to be in a gated community, compared to El Valle, that is the other way around.
Right. Yeah. And actually, I was going to kind of segue into that. And thank you for mentioning that. So, Catherine is an expert on these two areas, which is El Valle and Altos del Maria, when did they do that road connecting the two? Like,
yeah, exactly.
4 years ago?
Yeah, the road is pretty good. It's a little better if you have a 4x4, or I would not suggest to go in a sedan. It will not work, but you can go down from Altos to El Valle, but not going up. So there's a road that connects. It is roughly 30 minutes because you go slow, several curves, but
Sure.
it's a road, you appreciate
So,
the landscape.
yeah, it's a beautiful drive. So, going back to kind of the differences maybe between El Valle and Altos, what would that same house in Altos be? Let's say it's, maybe 800 meters elevation. So you've got some nice views, 2,000, 2,500 meter lot, maybe, I don't know, 200 meters of construction. So about 3 bedrooms, modern. Sounds like that might be around 300,000 in Altos, more or less, for that kind of property. What would the same property be in El Valle?
That could be not an extra, but the comparative will be $100,000 difference.
Okay.
And that's because of the amenities. For example, if you take a look at Altos, there is no public transportation because, of course, it's private residential.
Sure.
But let's say you live in El Valle, you can go in a bike road just to the supermarket. There is gyms, there's plenty of restaurants, there's like trails. Like it's a full mountain town.
You're in a
It's a village.
town. Yeah.
Like for example, you have issue with your internet, your water, like there's actually an office. You can actually just walk or you can go in a car, but it's a village. You have no maintenance fees per month. So basically you take care of your own lot, your own garden. Compared to Altos, you have an HOA maintenance fees of $80 per month, but it also includes a gym, 3 gated, maintenance of the green area,
Is that
trails.
water too?
No.
No, in Altos, no. Okay.
And so that $80 actually covers a lot. When we think about it, it has sport court, soccer, volleyballs, all of them. So it covers a lot, for just $80 per month. But the difference is, let's say you have kids, it's a little bit more complicated for them to go on a bike ride to their friends because you're going to be driving in the hills, like up
Yeah.
and down. Compared to El Valle, you're like below the mountain. So the
Sure.
views are different because you're below the mountains rather than being through the mountain. So that's the differences. Some people are really in love with, being in the mountain. You wake up, you see, you feel you're like into the mountain rather than seeing it from below.
Sure. Yeah, no, I
Mhm.
mean, it's in a volcanic crater. So do most people, where are you seeing the most interest these days? Is it 50% El Valle, 50% Altos, or are you seeing more interest? Yeah, like how and just in the last, say, 3 to 6 months.
I would say 60-40, a little bit more into El Valle. But
Okay.
also, what happened in El Valle, there's a little bit less market. So sometimes people would just say, well, house is a little bit nicer, a little bit less expensive in Altos. So then I'd rather go to Altos and drive the 30 minutes to El Valle or 20 minutes to Coronado. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. And since the market is a little bit less expensive just because of the amenities, well, sometimes it's more affordable. But El Valle is a little bit more popular. Let's say there's a little, there's a mix. For example, Altos has a little bit more retirees compared to El Valle. It's more like a mix of foreigner, so expat, Panamanians, generation of Panamanians. Um, so that would be more, yeah, 60-40 would make sense.
Okay. Yeah, cool. And you had mentioned it at the beginning, and I think it's an interesting trend, and it's probably driving the market a little bit, which are people moving from the city or moving from cities that can now work anywhere in the world. How is the internet? How does it compare in either place?
Okay, so you have the option of the same regular cable onda, cable and wireless, which is just, you choose your plan. You also have the option of fiber optic and higher plan, which will be roughly $100 per month. So it's almost the double of the regular, Panamanians, let's say, that we typical plans that we have, but you also, you pay for the difference. So you have more stability. Now, Altos probably have a little bit more stability when it comes to the internet, just because since there's so many foreigner expat, and we all know we kind of maybe will be a little bit more pushy when it comes to the internet, maybe more complaints, I guess. El Valle is a little bit more laid back, depending also on the location in El Valle. That's also a really important point. The street, the side of El Valle. But yeah, El Valle has a little bit more, let's say, water, electricity, not issues, but it will happen, let's say, every 2 weeks for a couple of
Okay.
hours, compared to Altos would be non-existent.
Okay. Got it. Well, let's see. What else can we kind of mention? So you said that there is a significant price difference between the two. Entry level is kind of 140 in Altos, and would you say probably around 240 in El Valle kind of thing?
Exactly. And when it comes to just like a virgin lot, El Valle, it's really difficult to find something under $50 per square meter. And if
Okay.
it happen, it's because it will be a lot of hectares, like it will be a huge lot. Compared to Altos, you can find plenty of lot for $20 per square meter. So the
Per
difference,
meter.
yeah, is huge.
Okay. Okay.
And there's a lot more option in Altos, people selling than El Valle, because El Valle also, because it's a little bit more of a mix. It goes from one generation to another, and people don't really want to sell because they actually, El Valle is a really touristic, beautiful location. So the people don't tend to sell as much as Altos. Altos, you can sell the same house, every 5 years, just because it kind of, it goes from one owner to another, different foreigners staying in Panama for, let's say, 5 10 years, and then they're selling. The market is a little bit more.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And guys, there's nobody better than to have a veteran resident working on your behalf. So, Catherine, good insight today. Thank you for sharing that info. Guys, Catherine has been living and working in Panama's mountains for 10 years now. So, she knows the market, she knows the process. We're here if you have any questions. Saludos a los que están viendo en Boquete. No hemos hablado de Boquete, pero nos encanta todas las montañas. ¿Sí o no, Catherine? ¿Tú has ido? ¿Cuándo fue la última vez que fuiste a Boquete?
Let's say 8 months ago.
8 months
I really
ago.
like every single mountain town. So we have
Yeah.
Boquete, Santa Fe, it's a little smaller, but also really nice to enjoy for the weekend. And so far, we only have like 5 options in the country: El Valle, Altos, and then Cerro Azul. It's a little.
Right.
Mhm.
Yep. So, and
Yeah.
if you guys are looking for something in that area, the areas that we didn't mention, which are, as Catherine just said, Santa Fe, Cerro Azul, or Boquete, we can still put you in touch with somebody, as they say, de confianza, who we trust, that we work with, the colleague. But we are experts in Altos and El Valle. So, Catherine, thank you for joining
You're
me
welcome.
today and dropping some knowledge on folks. So we're here for you guys. We appreciate your following, and yeah,